Welcome back to the deep dive. We're cutting straight through the noise using your source material, and today, well, we're tackling what might be the single biggest headache in modern travel: global connectivity. I mean, if you've ever booked a flight overseas, you know exactly what I'm talking about. How are you going to stay online without, taking out a second mortgage?
Right. It's a universal problem.
Yeah, the old ways are just brutal. You either come home to this terrifying phone bill from your regular carrier's roaming fees, or you're doing that awkward dance at the airport.
Oh, the SIM card shuffle. Yeah.
Totally. Juggling bags, hunting for a paperclip, trying not to lose your tiny home SIM card while you swap in some local one. It's friction, it's stress, pure logistical madness sometimes. Okay, let's unpack this.
Oh.
There's got to be a way to make staying connected as easy as, like, just getting on the plane.
And that's exactly what the sources we looked at are highlighting. They're really focused on a paradigm shift, using what's called an eSIM. That's embedded SIM or electronic SIM. So instead of the physical chip you pop in and out, you get a digital profile downloaded to your phone.
Okay, digital makes sense.
And the specific example the source material dives into is this platform, eSIMDial.com. It's positioned as sort of a shortcut to worry-free instant connectivity abroad.
Instant connectivity sounds good.
It does. And what really makes this tech and this whole market trend so attention-grabbing is the sheer scale they mention. The service in the sources claims coverage across, get this, 192 countries worldwide.
192, that's basically everywhere.
Pretty much. This isn't just a small step up. It feels like a radical expansion compared to, the roaming packages most people are used to. That huge scope is really our jumping off point for this dive.
Right. So let's start there with the immediate appeal for anyone who travels. Could be digital nomads, business travelers, just regular vacationers. Segment 1 is all about tackling that cost and coverage issue, specifically getting around the burden of those really expensive roaming charges.
Exactly. That's the hook.
The sources make a point of emphasizing that platforms like this offer low-cost plans designed for pretty much any budget, which is great. But the thing that really caught my eye was the feature set. They mentioned plans that can include unlimited data, calls, and texts.
Unlimited everything.
That's what it says. Sounds incredible, almost too good to be true on paper, maybe? We need to look a bit closer at that.
Yeah, that unlimited claim is interesting. What's fascinating, if you think about the economics here, is what that structure means. Offering low-cost plans that are also supposedly unlimited completely changes how you budget for travel tech. It basically removes that fear, that constant worry about hitting some data cap and getting slammed with overage fees. You shift from carefully metering your usage, maybe turning data off, to just a predictable fixed cost. Peace of mind.
Okay. Predictability is definitely key.
But we should probably inject a little realism here, based on how these things usually work. Truly unlimited, high-speed data everywhere on a global scale. That's technically very difficult and expensive to deliver consistently.
Right. There's always a catch somewhere.
Often, yeah. We have to assume, just based on market norms, that these services likely operate with some kind of fair usage policy. Maybe your speed gets throttled after you hit a certain, probably quite high data threshold.
So unlimited might mean unlimited standard use, not unlimited high-speed streaming 24/7.
Exactly. For the average traveler just needing maps, email, social media, maybe some light browsing, that peace of mind from the predictable cost is invaluable. But if you're a heavy-duty user, say, needing constant high-bandwidth video calls for work, you might need to manage your expectations about consistent top speeds.
So the core value is really the predictability, not necessarily infinite speed.
I think that's a fair assessment based on the wider market. The predictability is the game changer for most people's budgeting and stress levels.
Okay, that makes sense. But let's circle back to that massive scope you mentioned, 192 countries. How do they even pull that off? That can't be simple infrastructure-wise. It must involve a huge web of agreements, right?
Absolutely. When a platform like eSIMDial.com says they cover you from Paris to Tokyo, Cape Town to New York, they obviously aren't laying undersea cables themselves.
No, definitely not.
They're acting as what's called a mobile virtual network operator, an MVNO. Essentially, they've gone out and struck hundreds of wholesale deals with local mobile carriers all over the world. The sources imply there's a pretty sophisticated tech platform managing this complex matrix of regional network access points.
Ah, okay. So they're leveraging existing networks.
Precisely. This MVNO model lets them sort of cherry-pick cost-effective local rates in all these different countries and then package them up into one seamless digital product for you, the traveler. It cleverly sidesteps those traditionally expensive, often clunky bilateral roaming agreements that the big legacy carriers rely on. So that 1 in 92 number isn't just a marketing boast, it's likely evidence of deep integration into the global telecom market structure. That's really the engine driving the affordability.
Which brings us nicely to segment two, the convenience factor. Because look, even if the price is right and the coverage is huge, if the tech itself is a pain to use, people will just stick with what they know, even if it's expensive or annoying.
True. User experience is critical.
And the sources really hammer this point home. They talk about instant eSIM activation and, crucially, no physical SIM needed. I still remember landing in Chile once, totally exhausted after a long flight, and spending like 45 minutes trying to figure out how to buy a local SIM. Then I realized I needed some weird adapter size they didn't even sell at the airport kiosk. It was just miserable.
Oh, yeah, been there.
The idea that you can just skip all that physical fumbling, no more tiny cards, no adapters, and get instant eSIM activation, it makes international travel feel less like a logistical challenge and more like just, clicking a button online before you go. Here's where it gets really interesting.
That elimination of the physical barrier, that's the key technological leap we need to appreciate here. We're genuinely moving from tangible hardware, something you can drop or lose, to a digital profile that gets beamed over the air to your device.
Okay, but how does that actually work? Is it secure?
Yeah.
Fast?
Well, to make that speed and security happen, there's some important tech context. The sources mention compatibility with major devices. This is key. eSIMs work because they use a secure element that's already embedded directly into the hardware of most newer smartphones. Think iPhones from the XS onwards, or various flagship Android phones. It's not just downloading an app. It's a secure digital configuration file that authenticates your unique profile onto that existing secure chip inside your phone.
Got it. So you need a compatible phone. That's an important thing for listeners to check. Your device has to actually support eSIM technology.
Definitely. That's a prerequisite.
But assuming you do have the right phone, the sources suggest the process is super streamlined, like maybe scanning a QR code or activating it through an app.
Exactly. The whole interaction shifts from a physical hardware swap, finding the tray, ejecting it, putting the new one in, to just following simple digital instructions. Scan a code, tap a button, done. And this combination of speed and access means, theoretically, you could buy a data plan while your plane is literally taxiing to the gate. Scan the QR code they email you, and boom, you're connected with high-speed coverage the second you're allowed to turn your phone on.
Wow. No more desperately searching for patchy airport Wi-Fi just to call an Uber or look up your hotel address.
Right. It guarantees you're online instantly. That's efficiency really pushed to the max for the traveler.
Okay, so the tech sounds impressive, the price potentially great, the coverage vast. But let's pivot slightly. Let's talk about the foundation holding all this digital convenience together, trust and transparency. Because let's face it, if you're relying on a digital service halfway across the globe, what happens if something goes wrong?
That's a crucial question. Reliability is paramount.
The sources do touch on elements meant to build user trust. They specifically mention transparent pricing and 1047 support. Now, transparent pricing is vital, especially in a global market where hidden fees can be, well, notorious.
No nasty surprises.
But I want to focus on that support aspect. What does reliable 247 support actually mean when you're talking about global digital connectivity? It sounds good, but what's involved?
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, that 24/7 support isn't just a nice to have, it's practically a necessity. It's the insurance policy for a digital product that operates across every single time zone and interacts with, potentially, 192 different national network infrastructures. Think about a connectivity failing when you're far from home, maybe late at night. That's a high-anxiety situation. If your eSIM service suddenly drops out while you're in, say, Bangkok at 2 a.m. local time, you absolutely cannot wait for customer service to open during business hours back in New York or London.
Right, you need help now.
Exactly. And we need to think about why it might fail. It's usually not the eSIM itself physically breaking. It's often a subtle configuration issue, maybe an incorrect setting, like the APN, the access point name, which tells your phone how to connect to the local network. Supporting 192 countries means your support team needs to be equipped to troubleshoot highly specific, localized network problems across vastly different types of infrastructure. They need to diagnose a technical glitch quickly, maybe even across language barriers, at any hour of the day or night. That constant, knowledgeable support is a fundamental risk mitigator for the user.
So the real value isn't just having a helpline number. It's having an expert helpline instantly available that can actually solve those tricky network-specific technical issues that, Frankly, the average person would have no clue how to fix themselves.
Precisely. And it's that total package. The huge global scope we talked about, the ease of instant digital activation, plus that reliable, expert 24/7 support that the sources seem to identify as the unique value proposition. It's this whole ecosystem where the cool tech innovation is backed up by dependable operation and immediate help when needed that positions this kind of platform as potentially the best site for low-rate travel eSIMs, as one source put it. It's the combination of tech and reliable logistics.
Okay, so what does this all mean? Let's try to synthesize this. For you, the listener, the key takeaways from the source material seem pretty clear. We're seeing a market shift where affordability, through these low-cost plans, is meeting instant digital access, getting rid of physical cards entirely. And it's all wrapped up in this truly global coverage, potentially across 192 countries, made possible by that clever MVNO model.
Yeah, I think the big picture here is that the move to the embedded SIM, the eSIM, fundamentally changes the dynamic of travel planning and experience. It really aims to remove a whole layer of logistical stress and anxiety that's honestly been part of international travel for decades. Travelers can, ideally, redirect that mental energy they used to spend worrying about SIM cards and bills towards simply experiencing the journey itself, focusing on enjoying where they are rather than fiddling with connectivity tech. It's kind of a liberation of your cognitive load when you travel.
That's a great way to put it, liberation. Okay, and here's a final thought, something for you to mull over based on all this. Since these digital solutions are aiming to offer reliable, maybe even unlimited data, calls, and texts pretty much anywhere on Earth, how does that level of constant, easy, reliable connectivity start to fundamentally change what travel is? If you're instantly and reliably connected to home, to work emails, to global news the second you land anywhere, does that constant access blur the lines? Does it make it harder to truly be away on vacation if you're always fully on and reachable, no matter your longitude? That's a really interesting question.
Does this friction-free internet maybe signal the end of truly disconnected travel, for better or worse? Something to definitely think about the next time you're setting up an eSIM for your own next big adventure.